What's going on, all you mentees? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition to talk about my most anticipated graphic novels, collected editions, coming out in 2022. So, let's do this thing. Welcome back, everybody. Now, every year when I do this list, I like to limit myself to 10. However, this year, there's just so many good books, and I said, you know what? I limit myself to 5 hidden gems, 10 upcoming collected editions every month. So, you know what? I'm just going to talk about the books I'm most excited for. I don't even know how many are on this list. But in this list, you're going to see some original graphic novels. You're going to see some collected editions, whether they're omnis or absolute editions or trade paperbacks, whatever they are. And you're going to see a little bit of manga in here. So let's go ahead and get started with this list. And in the comments down below, by all means, please let me know what you're most excited for. I will say, there's one book I haven't announced yet from Marvel Comics I am so excited for, but I can't say anything yet until that video comes out. So this was filmed before that video. But yes, is it Spider-Man related? Absolutely. Now, let's get started. So, in no particular order, the book I'm most excited about that comes out, I believe it's been pushed until early next month, is The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. No idea what this is about, nor have I read the synopsis. I've been told by several people that have the similar taste in comics that I do, that this is phenomenal. But you had me at Ram V. I love the man's writing. So, These Savage Shores was one of my favorite reads back in 2018, I think, when Maddie and I read that. And the artist is Felipe Andrade. So that one is the first on the list. Next up is New Mutants Omnibus Volume 2. Now, this has been pushed back until February 15th. But again, these dates will probably change, so I don't even want to talk about dates. But this collects the remaining issues of Chris Claremont's run that lead directly into Louise Simonson's era. So you have New Mutants 35 through 54, Annuals 2 and 3, New Mutants Special Edition number 1, which is the crossover with Uncanny X-Men Annual number 9, and is collected in here, as well as Uncanny X-Men Annual number 10, which is the first American appearance of Betsy Braddock, who will become Psylocke. Power Pack 20 through 33, Fallen Angels 1 through 8. That series is so divisive, but I don't care. It's in here. Firestar, the 4-issue miniseries. New Mutants War Children number 1. It's like a flashback issue, but it came out in 2019. And material from Web of Spider-Man number 2. And if you watch Matt My X, you could see how close we were. We were only off by one book. And not too shabby, not too shabby. Excalibur Omnibus Volume 2, of course, makes me happy because the Excalibur Volume 1 was originally supposed to be Claremont and Davis Omnibus. And I remember that was the very first time I felt comfortable enough to talk to Marvel about maybe changing it to a Volume 1 because I feel like the sales would still be just as good. And then people could anticipate a Volume 2. And David decided to roll with that, and here we are. Year and a half later, and we have Excalibur Omnibus Volume 2 coming out. So this collects issues 35 through 67. There's some really great issues in there, and not some great ones. But when Alan Davis comes back with issue 42, oh man, I love that stuff. Weird War 3, the Possession one-shot Heir Apparent, the Double X Crossing, which has some early Joe Mad art, Sensational She-Hulk 26, and then material from Marvel Comics Presents 75 and 110. Essential Judge Dredd versus Death. Now, the reason I went with this one is because these are the essential editions. They're larger magazine size that are being published by 2000 AD. And I fell in love with this particular series when the Judge Death character appeared. So this looks like it's got the work of Pat Mills, Brian Boland, John Wagner, and Alan Grant. So I'm excited for it. I love the fact that they're collecting them in these oversized format. Came the Mirror and Other Tales manga. So Rumiko Takahashi is one of my favorite mangaka. And if you don't know what that is, it's a manga creator. She has been around for decades and a big part of my childhood with Ranma and Lum, Urusei Yatsura, and of course Maison Ikkoku. And then I think she probably became very popular around for here, at least here in America, with Inuyasha. But this is a collection of short stories, and she's done short stories that have been translated by Viz back in the 90s before, and I hope one day they will reprint those. What were they? Rumik Theater and Rumik Trilogy, I believe. And man, I love her stuff, so I can't wait to read that particular book. Absolute Swamp Thing Volume 3, which was supposed to come out this year, but now it looks like it's March. This collects the remaining run of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, issues 51 through 64, and DC Comics presents number 85 with the new colors in an absolute format. Sonic the Hedgehog IDW Volume 2. I finally got around to reading this at the end of last year, and it was a lot of fun, and my wife and my oldest had already read it, and they were telling me that I should. So this collects issues 13 through 20. You have a cover there of Tails, who's going to be a character in the second movie. I can't believe we have a movie. They're building the Smash Brothers universe. That's what my daughters keep saying. And this collects the 2019 annual and the Tangle and Whisper 4-issue miniseries as well. Decorum. Now, this is a series that was brought to my attention by a couple of my Patreons, and I did not know what this was until I looked it up, and I'm like, okay, I'm so excited for this. Because you have Mike Huddleston on artwork, but it's the writings of Jonathan Hickman, and this is his own creator-owned stuff over at Image Comics. This collects the 8-issue series, so I know nothing going into it. All I know is Jonathan Hickman. I do enjoy his stuff, so I'm in. I am in. Adraste. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So, the reason I chose this is because of the creator, Matthew Bablé, who had done some work in the past that I have really enjoyed. This is published by Magnetic Press, who has been doing amazing stuff. This is scheduled for March, and this is an original graphic novel. And Matthew is both the artist and the writer, and he has this very unique style. I love his art. And he just came out with, was it Carbon and Silicon, I think? I haven't gotten that yet, but I can't wait to check that out. I've been enjoying everything that this man has written, so I'm very excited to read this particular. It looks like Greek mythology just based on that cover. Inferno by Jonathan Hickman, of course. I read the first 2 issues digitally, and I said, no more. I have to wait. I'm a trade waiter, and there's a curse with that, though, because people love to talk about these issues as they come out, and I haven't read them yet, so I can't wait to read this and finally get to talk about the final 2 issues. I don't know if people were, just blown away by the 4-issue miniseries. This is Jonathan Hickman, by the way, and this is kind of like his stepping away from the X-Men that he helped bring together with House and Powers of X. So this is kind of like his goodbye. For a while, he did say he will come back. But you have Stefano Caselli in here and Valerio Schite. So collecting all 4 issues of this series in hardcover format. There are going to be 2 covers available. And I'm not here to talk about the covers. Usually I do that when I'm doing my upcoming collected editions. Okay. Astro City Volume 1. It's not what I wanted. It's not what a lot of people have been waiting for, but it's finally coming out. It's not a hardcover. It's not an omnibus. It's not even a deluxe edition. It's just a trade paperback, but at least we're getting it back in print. A lot of these stories have been out of print for a long time. This is Brant Anderson and Kurt Busiek's masterpiece. The covers are provided by Alex Ross. I think you have Alex and Claire in here and Steve Buscelato. But this collects the first 6 issues of Volume 1 and then Volume 2, 1 through 12, and the half issue. This is being published by Image Comics, and there's been a history of, this is where it actually started, and then self-published, and then Wildstorm, then DC bought Wildstorm, so it was published at Anyway, it's finally coming out. It gives me hope maybe Image and Kurt Busiek will see that, hey, we do need this in hardcover format. There's a demand for this. Millennium. Milestone Compendium, Volume 1. Another one that I was hoping that we would get an omnibus. I was hoping that we would get, if we were going to go the Milestone route, I was hoping they would focus on one character and give us everything. But this collects The Blood Syndicate, 1 through 12, Hardware, 1 through 12, Icon, 1 through 10, and Wonder Maddie just did a review of that, an old reader, new reader, and she fell in love with it. Static 1 through 8, Zombie 0 through 11, and Shadow Cabinet number 0. So you have the works in here of M.D. Bright, Dennis Cowan, and the phenomenal, legendary, and gone way too soon, Dwayne McDuffie. So it's finally coming out. It was originally supposed to be out this year, but it's coming out, or I'm sorry, 2021. I'm still stuck in last year. But it's finally coming out in February of 2022. Deadly Class Deluxe Edition Volume 3, collecting issues 32 through 44, and the Free Comic Book Day 2019. Oh, man. I've been waiting for this for so long. I used to get the trades, and then I upgraded to the deluxe editions, which are huge. I love those books. Volume 1 and Volume 2, I think, are on their way to being reprinted, if they're not reprinted by now, by the way, in case you want to check those out. This is Rick Remender and Wes Craig, set in the 80s, about a bunch of kids going to a school of assassins. And to me, this show that was based on the book could have been as good as Game of Thrones, but sadly it got canceled. So I'm still going to enjoy the books, and you never expect it to go the way it goes. And I will say one more thing. If you've not read it, do not get attached to characters, because holy crap. Silent Voice, this is the collector's edition hardcover coming out. It looks like it's been pushed back until, I believe, now I have a new date of that one. That one is in March. So it was supposed to come out last year, and this collects the first 4 volumes, I want to say, of A Silent Voice. I wanted to get the box set last year, but when I heard about the complete collector's edition, I'm in. I love these hardcovers. This is by Yoshitoki Oima, and it is published here in America by Kodansha Comics. So this collects half of the story, and then the other half should be out sometime later on in 2022. Thor by Jason Aaron, Omnibus. Of course I'm excited for this. When I got to announce it, I could tell so many people were like, finally it's coming out. So collecting a lot more than I thought they were going to collect, honestly. I thought there were going to be 3 of these, but it looks like they're only going to do 2. So Thor, God of Thunder, 1 through 25. I don't know of a second one. I'm just saying, I'm sure it's coming. Thor 1 through 8 when it was renumbered again. Thor Annual Number 1, Thor's 1 through 4, and Mighty Thor yet again when it got renumbered 1 through 12. And this will be in preparation of that movie. This is now scheduled coming out in March. 7 to Eternity, the hardcover edition. This is a book that was pushed back from last year, and there wasn't really a reason why, because it was ready to go. It was ready to come out, I think, sometime right before the 3rd quarter. But this collects everything. This collects all 17 issues. You have artwork in here by Jeromo Peña, Matt Hollingsworth providing a lot of the colors, and then Rick Remender, of course, writing it. Oh man, I've only read the first trade, and I could not wait to finish reading it. And dang it got postponed. But you know what? We're finally getting it, so I don't care. It's finally coming out, all in one collection too. Cells at Work, complete manga box set. So this is a series, this is also published by Kodansha, and it's a box set. And the reason I'm excited about this is because so many of my viewers have asked if I've read it. And I always thought it was ridiculous, the title. But what the interesting thing about this is that so many of my viewers said they've learned so much about blood from reading this particular series. So I find that interesting. No idea if these are cells living in your body, I assume, and they just look like human beings. But I'm curious to read it. This one is scheduled to come out in February as well. Transformers The IDW Collection Phase 3, Volume 2. I know it didn't start with a big bang with Volume 1 because it was part of that Revolutions crossover, but I'm happy to go back to The Lost Light. I'm happy to go back to politics in Cybertron, and I'm happy to read more about Windblade. So this collects till R1 issues 9 through 12, Optimus Prime issues 1 through 6, and Lost Light issues 1 through 7. This is what I've been waiting for. I'm just happy to see James Roberts back. I'm happy to see Marjorie Scott back, and John Barber writing these stories that I love so much. Phase 2, I don't think it will get better than Phase 2, but I do want to continue reading Phase 3, and I'm so glad that every time these pop up in a catalog, I get excited. I was on the fence about this one, but the news this year just kind of led me to go ahead and put this in my most wanted or most anticipated list, and that is Absolute Wonder Woman Gods and Mortals. I own the Omnis. I used to have the complete collections, the trade paperbacks, the single issues. So this will be another dip for me, but it's George Perez. It's Wonder Woman. It's relaunching Wonder Woman after Crisis on Infinite Earths. So this collects Wonder Woman 1 through 14, Who's Who, the definitive directory of the DC Universe number 26, and Update 1 through 3. Just I'm sure the stuff that he's drawn. I don't know how far they will go. I don't know if they'll collect just the issues that George Perez drew. I doubt they'll collect the issues he wrote, because he went all the way to the War of the Gods. But It's an absolute format. It's George Perez's artwork. It's only 376 pages. I realized that for $125, but come on. I mean, it's Perez. Echolands, Volume 1, another one that was brought to my attention from some of my Patreons, and this is by J.H. Williams the third, my second favorite artist of all time. This, I don't know what format it's going to be in, but it's a hardcover edition from Image Comics, and they told me how mind-blowing it is. So that's all I know, and looking at that cover, wow. I can't wait to... I hope it's in that format. I hope it's in this widescreen format. The dimensions are like that. But I don't know. I don't know anything about it. You have Hayden Blackman and Dave Stewart also working on this book, so he's not alone. Todd Klein doing the letter. I do know that. But yes, another one to add to my list of most anticipated. TMNT, the IDW collection, volume 14. Of course I'm excited about. Look at that cover by Sophie Campbell. Another one of these that every time I see a new one I get excited about, because I just don't want these to end. I don't want Transformers IDW to end like unfortunately the G.I. Joe series got, they pulled the plug on that. Nor do I want the TMNT IDW collection to end. Even though Volume 13 was a good stopping point because the series changes after that. This collects issues 101 to 112 in the 2020 annual, as well as the Janika 3-issue miniseries. So I can't wait to read that stuff. Regardless of the big change that it had, I'm still excited for it. Black Panther by Christopher Priest, Omnibus Volume 1. I was so happy to announce this book. This is my favorite run on Black Panther. Christopher Priest just completely re-envisions the character and just modernizes it. Not changing a lot, really, just modernizing a little bit of the origin. Takes us back to Wakanda. Introduces us to a bunch of new supporting cast and old supporting legacy cast members. So this collects the first half of his run. I'm so excited about this run, and I was so excited to finally get to announce it. So of course, yes, absolutely. Squire. So this is a book that got my attention because of that cover. And I'll be honest, sometimes covers lure me to read a book. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. But I mean, when you go to a bookstore, though, all you see is the spine. You don't really see the cover. So when I was looking through the catalog of upcoming books or just graphic novels, this one got my attention. And 7 times out of 10, it's a pretty accurate ratio there. 7 times out of 10, they prove to be a really good read based on the cover. So this is by Sarah Alfagi and Nadia Shamaz. And I don't know what this is about, but I did a little research. So this is the historical inspired graphic novel about a young girl who dreams of becoming a knight for the Empire, despite her family's opposing of that. So that's all I needed to read. I'm in. If it's anything like Mulan with singing dragons... Wait, did Mushu sing? No, but they took him out of that damn movie. I'm still mad about that. But no, seriously, this looks awesome, and I can't wait to read it. Okay, one that has been in the catalog for a long time, never canceled, but looks like it's now coming out in May, and that's Richard Stark's Parker, the Martini edition. This is the follow-up, Last Call. This is, this is the last thing that he was working on. I think they have enough material for one more, if I'm not mistaken. But it's Darwin Cook's masterpiece. It's a gorgeous detective noir story. And the Martini editions are just absolutely jaw-dropping, stunning, and the only way to own this. And apparently this version here has a brand new 17-page story told by multiple Eisner Award-winning creators, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. So that's never been published before. I'm excited for it. I love Parker when it was... of course, it's based on the prose, right? The novels, but it's Darwin Cook. Miss that guy. A New Warriors Classic Volume 2. Now, this may not mean a lot to people, but to me, this means the world. This is one of my goals that I wanted at Marvel Comics when I started talking to Marvel Comics, was get this book printed. As one of my personal ones. Like, I get to announce so many awesome books for people that, whether it's like, something from the modern age or something from the Silver Age, people get excited. And I was like, okay, if there's only one book, if if this connection between Marvel and I work out, there's a couple books I want printed, but one that I really wanted was New Warriors Omnibus 2. So here we are, New Warriors Classic Omnibus Volume 2, collecting issues 27 through 53. I still stand by my statement that this is Fabianicius' magnum opus. These are the best stories that he wrote. Annuals 3 and 4, the Night Thrasher miniseries, X-Force 32 and 33, Night Thrasher number 1, which is his ongoing series, 11 through 12, and that's part of the Time and Time Again crossover with Nova. It's also in here. 6 through 7, Ashcan edition number 1, and material from Marvel Comics Presents 122, 159 to 163, and Holiday Special number 2. The only thing missing here is really Justice, but hey, gives us a little wiggle room to say we need a volume 3. So I'm so excited for that. Seven Deadly Sins is coming out in a box set edition. It's the first... Unfortunately, it's the first 7 volumes, though, so I don't know how I feel about that. For 70... The retail price is odd, too. It's $76.93. It's like somebody crunched the numbers and said, okay, we can cut that much savings because we're throwing a poster in there. But it's a series that I've been wanting to read. I've seen the anime pop up on our recommended whenever we're watching Netflix, so I'm curious to read it just based on the character designs. Yes. Catwoman. Of course, Catwoman of East End. This is one of my most wanted DC Omnis, Batman Omnis rather, collecting Detective Comics 759 through 762, which is the beginning of all the stories. Catwoman 1 through 37, Secret Files number 1, and The Big Score number 1. So you have phenomenal talent in here. Ed Brubaker, of course, helming all this. But then you have the art of Darwin Cook. Eventually, when he leaves the book, there's a couple of artists that come in, but Paul Gulacsi comes in. Now, his art is a little bit different than the way that it looks in Master Kung Fu. So if you're expecting that, you might be a little disappointed. Just saying. Keeping 2. This is published by Fantagraphics, and it's, again, one of those that I just looked at the cover, and I was like, that's interesting. This is by Jordan Crane, and it got my attention, just like I said, based on that cover, and I think it's just a conversation that takes place in a car. I don't know. Some people like artsy movies, but you gotta be in the mood for it. I like these type of graphic novels, so I have to be in the mood for it. If I want kick-ass action, I'll go read New Warriors Omnibus Volume 2. If I want 2 people talking in a car, I'll drive somewhere and talk to my wife. No, I'll read this. This looks great. I can't wait to read this. So, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention earlier is that every month I do this top 10 suggested collected editions coming out for every month. After I do my upcoming collected editions for the month of February, as an example, I will do my top 10 suggested buys or essential reads for the month of February. So just in case if you like lists like this. The End, revised and expanded. This is one that I think was in the catalog last year, and it just, the project sounds interesting. This is by Anders Nilsson, and it's a concept album in different styles, a meditation on paying attention, an abstracted autobiography. So I think this originally came out in 2005, and it's a sketchbook about following the death of his fiance. So this is based on his sketchbook, on Anders Nilsson's sketchbook, following the year after his fiance passed away. So short strips about loss. Yeah, this is up my alley. But again, it's one of those books that I think I have to be in the mood for. It looks like it's scheduled for June of this year. Ice Cream Man, the Sunday edition, book 1. One of my favorite horror books, coming out in a hardcover format, collecting the first 12 issues. Honestly, I thought it was going to be the first 18 issues, but $44.99, published by Image Comics. If you've not read these, this is like your Twilight Zone episodes. Like, each one is standalone, each comic is standalone, and of course you've got Ice Cream Man, kind of like the Tales from the Crypt Keeper. So if you've not read it, do yourself a favor. It's phenomenal. The Question Omnibus by Dennis O'Neil and Dennis Cohen. Man, Volume 1. Come on, DC. In the catalog. So solicits have already been seen, and it's one step closer to us. I'm really surprised they went the route of Omnibus with the way that they did Starman, the way they handled Starman, or the compendiums that have been coming out lately. I really thought this was going to be canceled and made into a compendium, but knock on wood, this stays as a Omnibus, collecting the first 27 issues, Annual Number 1, Green Arrow Annual 1, and Detective Comics Annual Number 1. So excited for this book, $99.99. And last, but certainly not least, the book. Okay, all these I'm excited about. I'm excited about all these, but there's one book that I was like, okay, this is the one if I had to pick one. There's one I can't say yet, but you'll find out what that will be here probably in the next week or couple weeks. But this Wolverine Omnibus Volume 3, come on. This is the best, to me, Wolverine comics had ever been. Like, this is the stuff I grew up with. This is the stuff my friends and I would talk about. Issue 34, one of my top 3 favorite. My single standalone issue of Wolverine is issue 34. But this kicks off Larry Hama's era. But you also have Peter David doing some fill-in writing. Fabian Nicieza doing, I think, issue 54 with Shatterstar. You have Mark Silvestri supplying most of the artwork in here after he left X-Men. Because this young buck named Jim Lee took over X-Men. Mark Silvestri came over to Wolverine. So, collecting Wolverine 31 through 59, Bloody Choices, Reign of Terror. That's drawn by Andy Kubert. The Hearts of Darkness, it's a John Romita Jr. series. This was, if you watch Met My Ex, is another one that we almost had right, except we did not include this. They included X-Men 4 through 7, so that is the Omega Red Saga. And then material for Marvel Fanfare 54 and 55, and Marvel Comics Presents 85 through 108. That is a big book. $125, 1,264 pages. I cannot wait for this. It looks like I do have bad news about this one. This one looks like it's slipping into October. Now, that's the latest date I had from Marvel. I think most places are still showing August, but at least it's coming. It's not canceled. Now, when you're interested in purchasing these books, or if you want to pre-order them, check out our sponsors. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They pride themselves on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Check out the bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. CGN is excited to announce that they are now taking pre-orders. They're making it easier for you to ensure that you don't miss out on the hottest releases. CGN is currently running a special promotion for your Minties. If you're a first-time customer, let them know that you were referred by near mint condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. This promotion is valid for U.S. customers only. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount and quality shipping and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. If you live in Europe and are interested in pre-ordering or purchasing Omnis, then you should definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices for Marvel and DC big books within the EU. Flat shipping of €9.90 for EU countries. Extremely careful and sturdy packaging. Emails are answered within 24 hours. And they have a superb selection of new releases and out-of-print books on their website. Just head over to waltzcomicshop.com for more great deals and rare titles. And for a limited time, you can use the code Near Mint Condition, all one word, at the checkout for free shipping to all EU countries with your first order. Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for Omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. And that was my list of most anticipated graphic novels that we know so far, right? Because they're still going to make some announcements. We still have to wait for the fourth quarter from DC, from Marvel. Even though I know of some, I just can't talk about them. But we still have IDW, Dark Horse, Viz, Kodansha. We still have yet to know what's coming in that fourth quarter. But these are ones I'm mostly excited about for the first 3 quarters. And let me know in the comments down below what you're most excited about. I don't care how many you put down. I cheetah, then make it a top 10. You can put as many as you want down. Don't forget to hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications, subscribe. All that helps with our YouTube algorithm and our channel keep growing. And if you really want to help, and you can, we do have a Patreon. It's a phenomenal way to support the channels. There's exclusive stuff there and different tiers that meets your needs. And we also have a spread shop where you can get our logos on t-shirts, and we have many t-shirts designed. Speaking of t-shirts, my brother designed this shirt. I love this shirt. He gave it to me for Christmas. We used to design shirts back in the day, and this is one of my favorite ones that we designed. But anyway, that's it. Everyone, stay healthy, stay safe. Much love.